Hi guys, Elsewhere here, back with part 4 on the studio series for my little kitchenette. Kind of my little multitask space. Said in the previous video, these are, for one thing, these are for my notes. It's how I get set up, and I play these back to myself, and then I go in and maybe make some watch as I'm actually walking through the set and making adjustments as I go, either with the lighting, the camera angles, all of that stuff. And then so that way when I shoot, I can do it in one take, and it is what it is. And it doesn't mean I don't want to apply myself. This is the foot of a stool. I have this odd setup. The camera is on an upside down stool. That's all I can say. And it's in the shot because what I'm actually wanting to show you is behind me. And this is the way the angle needed to be. So part of the setup with the camera angles and the lighting, I just stopped part 2 and then I hit record again, and in that amount of time the camera started tipping, the mount wouldn't stand up straight. I had to move the camera around, I had to and now this is in the frame. I don't want that there, but I'm not going to try and rebalance the stand again, because at least now it's standing up. So, and these are things that happen hopefully between takes or off camera, but right now, you know, if you see me just kind of fall out of frame, it's because my stand is just giving me trouble. But that's part of setting up and preparing this for you guys. And really, honestly, like I've said before with projects, even though I find it tedious, for me, it's just very calming and I enjoy it. I enjoy looking at the frames. I enjoy setting up the shots for you guys. Not only that, but it helps me declutter and set up and keep things fairly efficient. You know, if I'm talking to you about how I'm preparing my food, then I need that set up in a way that's cohesive for you guys, which means it's going to be cohesive for me. So I'm not just, you know, kind of, you know, it's just not quite as random, and that's nice. So anyway, I thought in part 4 here I would talk about what's on the walls behind me, and I had said I was going to talk about my floor. Now hopefully if you watch part 3 you could really see quite a bit of this floor, and because of the issue I'm having with the stand, I'm not going to try and fix the frame right now to show that. But if you want more, you know, if you want me to talk about it more, I will. But I will be referencing that with one of the pieces on the wall here. So first of all, so of course, I installed all of this. This is my frame for my meditation loft. My loft is only 6'6". It's right above me, so I'm kind of in this little cavey area. But I did 2x6 for my cross beam, or you know, and then it's framed in independent, and then it was brought in and mounted. So this thing is beyond sturdy, and then I used OSB for the walls, and so it's much sturdier there as well, structurally speaking. So, and then I had to, of course, I carried through with the super goth purple, blue. What I was going for was a cross between indigo and fuchsia. Okay, I chose both of those components, and when I say fuchsia, this is a really good example. The camera might not pick it up. You might pick one up right here. Those are fuchsia. And speaking of which, so I did there's places where you can't see it on camera, which is kind of nice for me because it looks a little janky. Like, I can't measure and cut, y'all. I just can't. And so these are all off by a ways. So there's these gaps. And so I had planned on getting some trim and just putting it up there, even if it was just like 1x. And I was just going to paint it out and then trim that so you wouldn't see these janky cuts. And a friend of mine said, yeah, you know, they make those metal strips, and they're kind of a retro vintage kind of a vibe, but now you can get them in like a cheap manufactured kind of way, so to speak. And I was like, yeah, the metallic, you know, that would really tie everything together. And then I remembered I had these. I bought these at the dollar store during Halloween, like a really long time ago. And I remembered I had them, so I just came over with my museum putty and I stuck these. And over time, they've fallen off. There's like a gap right there above this picture. This isn't a gap, it's just a black one. They came in orange, pink, black, teal, green. So 4 colors. So anyway, and also because they're bright, cheerful colors and it's kind of Halloweeny, it was just kind of a Day of the Dead accent kind of influence there. And then I love my silhouette pictures, but you know, when I'm moving around or when I'm ready to unpack and do something, I would say about 50% of the time these stay put away. And I really wanted to break that habit because there's no sense in carrying them around if you're not going to display them and enjoy them, right? So I really wanted to break that. And I just didn't want to overthink where these things were going to go. They have sentimental value for me. And I thought, you know, let's just hang them somewhere where I can look at them on a regular basis. And so this is a workstation. It's over my counter. I'm facing the wall. Any natural light I have or windows is behind me. And so, yeah, that was the decision. And then the other thing was, this is the first time where I haven't just absolutely insisted on everything being straight and symmetrical and totally, like when your eye follows it, it is a pattern. I didn't do that. I made myself not do that. So what we have here, this is my grandmother's. It's a silhouette, and her dress is a kind of an orange and peach kind of a foil. The book, the color that you see is a foil behind the silhouette. And anyway, it picks up with and it's because it's foil, it's metallic, and it picks up. This is my vintage goldenrod, I believe was the color, maybe in the 70s, hand towel, fringed hand towel, and that hangs over my little camp sink there. Moving on, I have, this is the reference I was going to make. I'm going to pull this down just because it's so dark. This is a technique that I learned when I was in kindergarten. And then when my son was in kindergarten, he brought this home from school, and I remembered this. So I framed this and I kept it as one of my really special pieces. So you color patches in like crayon or colored pencil or ink or something all over a piece of paper, and then you cover those colored patches with black wax, like a black crayon, or in this case they covered it in black paint, and then they scratched the picture in so that the colors show through from behind. And anyway, my son made this in kindergarten. He is 30 years old this year. And 29. Okay, don't rush it. And anyway, so that's why that's special. I had this dark blue. It's kind of the black with the super bright colors coming through. So it kind of, I just wanted it, again, my goal was just to put things where I could see them and enjoy them, so that they wouldn't stay in a box. And I will fix that later. It's hanging crooked, whatever. These little silhouettes have, the backgrounds are actually fabric. They're antique, and the background is a set and the frames are a set, but these two are different than the one in the middle. I believe there's probably supposed to be a bigger one of a man as well, because this is a man and a woman. This is my grandmother's senior class project when she was in high school, and it says daily menus. It's in my kitchen. It is a watercolor done by her, and I love it, and it's gorgeous, and there it is, so that I can appreciate that. I have these little fillers here. They're just plastic. They are silhouettes. They're hounds, which is kind of cool. I love it. You got like a very posh lady standing with her hound, and so they're pretty cool. Those two are identical. And then over here, it's kind of far away from you guys, but this is a set that actually has the bubble glass, and then the background is a watercolored French scene, and it shows a boy offering a lady a ride in a boat or a gondola of some kind. Anyway, it's very cute. There's a parasol, and the boy is dressed in a little sailor suit, and it's very cute, and I love them. And they are these are all antiques and all things that have been handed down, and so they're special to me. A couple other things, if we're just gonna stay in this vein, and I have a couple more minutes, I suppose. Another thing, these were hung kind of off to the side. I always make sure I hang these up. These are my carved spoons from my uncle. And I always try and make sure that these are out, but sometimes they're just hung conveniently out of the way, and other times I like to display them, and I wanted to make sure they were out on display. And so these actually hang over my sink. And the spoons are kind of representative of, you know, the kitchen. So I have my grandmother and my mother and my uncle tied in here. This, I just wanted to mention this. I was just telling a friend of mine about this the other day, about how this is one of the man who did the spoons. This is much later, and I think it's one of his earliest pieces when he got his first lathe and started doing turned work. And I was telling this friend of mine that this dark patina here, I'm really afraid to clean this, just because it just has this used, I'm gonna open it in a minute, it's empty right now. I use this as a salt vessel in my kitchen, and so that's why it's got some patina, some history, some natural seasoning. And you just, I know for a fact that you just want to be really careful when you're cleaning these things. And not only that, but on top, because it has this patina, the dust really does kind of stick, and it cakes a little bit. But again, I just can't quite bring myself to actually wash this, just because I don't want to wreck it. And so, and this friend of mine, he's a woodworker, and he turns and he knows what I'm talking about. And he says I would probably be more than safe to just go in with a really mild, warm soap and water, wash it gently, rinse it off, and then just start doing that periodically and not actually trying to get it totally clean or back to wood. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to show you the inside because the inside shows the original hue, right? That beautiful orange terracotta. And then if we compare the outside, you can see that kind of burnished, shiny, just patina, just environmental deposits. So anyway, the inside is perfectly dry. The seal is incredible. It is countersunk along the edge here, and it is just the weight and the balance of it and how well it seals. I can keep my salt, and then my salt stays dry. It's kind of like having a little humidor, really. Anyway, it's wonderful. It's here in my kitchen, and it's among the things that I appreciate, and I want them in front of me all the time. Just because they make me happy. So anyway, I think that is enough for the kitchen. One of the reasons that I like to incorporate this topic of my personal things and why they're here is because in pretty much every video, as chaotic as it may seem, it's there for a reason, and it has a actual purpose for me in my daily life. I see it, I use it, I touch it, I engage, and I interact with these things that are important to me. And so it's just part of the ambiance. It's part of what makes me comfortable doing things like turning on the camera and sharing my studio with you guys. So anyway, if you see anything that you would like more details, I'll do one more because I totally forgot about this. We'll see what happens. Elsewhere out.